All right, everyone. Good evening to you all, my dear students, my dear friends. So I'm going to start my today's lecture right now. Before start, as usual, I just need some quick confirmations if everything is fine from my side, if I'm audible. Can I get quick confirmations, please? Am I audible clearly to you? All right. Thank you so much for those quick confirmation. And I hope that you would have gone through from some of the very important concept we studied yesterday. These were regarding teaching approaches and educational philosophies. We have already delivered you all the data regarding that. And as I told you that this topic is very important and large as well. So that's why we took on yesterday 2 lectures for this. And even this is not finished right now. So I am taking this lecture. Today will be only one lecture for paper 1. And if need be there, then tomorrow we shall again take 2 lectures for paper 1 so that this topic gets over, because the upcoming lecture regarding the teaching systems of MOOC, Swayam Prabha, that we have already gone through, and we have already delivered you the data regarding these as well. Okay, so that's why if need be there, if today's topic is not completed within the today's time frame, then we can take the 2 lectures tomorrow as well. So now I start my today's lecture. I'm going to show my screen to you. And before starting this, I am telling you that this is very important. You have to go through from each approach and each philosophies, and only after that you should watch this video. You should go through from the notes of today. Okay, do not rush towards all the notes. Okay, just go systematically as we provide to you the information. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen so that each and everything is visible to you. So these are going to be about methods of teaching. Okay, so yesterday we learned about approaches of teaching, and these were classical theories. Okay, these were classical theories. We went through idealism, we went through naturalism, then pragmatism, then existentialism. These things we have already gone through. These were very important to clear your concepts. Okay, because a number of times the questions from these have been asked, and these all were classical theories. Classical in the sense these were very old theories and old systems of teaching. Nowadays we have to study about contemporary issues as well, contemporary topics, contemporary methods of teaching. So in this video lecture we are going to study about methods of teaching in institutions of higher learning, and these are relatively contemporary. Contemporary means these are being used nowadays. Okay, nowadays. Doesn't matter whatever the type of institution is. It can be a simple college. Okay, it can be a school. It can be anything like a private institution or any educational institution or anything else like IIT. Okay, then MIT or anything else. There are being used a number of teaching methods, and these are contemporary. Okay, and these have been categorized into only 2 parts. These are teacher centered methods and learner centered methods. Okay, only from this point of view we have to study this topic. This is also very important, as yesterday we did about classical approaches or philosophies of both the teaching and education as well. Today we shall study about contemporary methods of teaching, and these are going to be from the point of view of teacher and learner only. Okay, there are 2 parties, okay, in the field of education. The first is teacher and the second one is learner, and we have to study the methods of teaching from the point of view of a teacher and learner as well. So differentiation should be there on the basis of these 2 extremes only. Okay, so now we move further. And first of all, before understanding this, you have to go through from the phases of a teaching. Okay, phases are very important because I think 3 or 4 times, if you analyze the previous papers for past 26 times, okay, or for past 13 to 14 years, then you can observe that phases of teaching has also been asked in the examination number of times. Okay, so there are only 3 phases of a teaching, and these are to be studied step by step. Okay, you cannot mess up with these. You have to follow only as per the steps we tell you. Okay, what is the step first for the phase of teaching, what is at the second place, and what is the third place. You have to move in this way. And before going to the methods of a teaching, these are teacher centric or the learner centric, we shall go afterward. First of all, we have to study about phases of a teaching. Okay, so what are these phases? The first is plan. A teacher has to plan before teaching. Okay, he has to plan before teaching. A teacher has to plan before teaching. Suppose you have been hired for any institution, any educational institution, and at 10 a.m. there is your lecture. Okay, there is your lecture for finance. Okay, there is your lecture for finance, and you shall have to prepare, or you shall have to make the content, the planned content of all the things you are going to teach at that time. Okay, and that plan can be made beforehand only. Okay, you can make one day before your lecture, you can make 1 hour before lecture. So that's why a teacher has to plan before his teaching. So this is a pre-active phase, and this is the first phase in teaching. Okay, this happens before actual teaching. This helps you formulation of your goals. What shall you teach? Then decision making about subject matter. You have to take decision. How shall you pursue your lecture? How shall you start? Which content you should tell to the students very first time? Okay, how shall you start? Then you have to think about your ideas and teaching styles beforehand. Then you can also, then you shall have to develop your strategies for teaching in the classroom. So this is the very first phase in the life of a teacher, or it can be said that phases of teaching. The second one is execution. This is simply an execution. Whatever the plans have you made, you have to apply those plan in execution or in actual classroom setup. Okay, so this happens in actual classroom setup. In this sizing up the class, you have to have a look on the size of your class, and you have to decide how to start your lecture. Then diagnosis of learning, you have to take, you have to diagnose your as well as your students learning as well. Then you have to perceive about your students, you have to learn about their mindsets. Okay, you have to learn about their mindset, you have to diagnose them. Diagnose means how they shall be able to understand you. You have to find that, you have to find the ways by which they shall be able to understand your concept. And lastly, response, you have to respond to all the things you have diagnosed. So what do you have to do in all these 3 things? You have to find the abilities of your students or learners. You have to find interest and attitude of your learners. You have to see the academic backgrounds of your learners, of your students. Okay. So this is also the duty or the phase of the teaching. Okay. This is the duty of the teacher to find all these things. Only then he shall be able to execute his lecture effectively. Okay, then lastly, he has to make action of reaction, and he has to achieve what goals he wishes to achieve while teaching in the classroom. And the last one is evaluation. He has to evaluate my performance, whether my performance or students' performance is up to mark or not. Okay, the last phase is evaluation, whether I have done good or not. After after each day's lecture, okay, it's going to be 7th or 8th day, I think, we are delivering you the live lectures. After all the classes, I make evaluation of myself, whether I have done right, whether I have used right strategies, right ways to teach you or not. So a teacher has to make evaluation of himself and evaluation of his students as well. I check your performance as well in the tests daily basis, okay, in your involvement daily basis with the live video lectures, okay, because I, for the first 3 or 4 minutes, I check up all the names who is regular or not, okay. Then this is the evaluation phase. This is the third phase in which evaluation is done. Then it is found that behavior has changed or not for students, okay, defining the exact dimensions of behavioral changes, whether or your students have understood or not. This is being evaluated by the teacher. Then selecting appropriate testing devices, then he again uses some devices, like he can take the tests, he can give the quizzes, he can do anything else for making his students involved in the classroom. Then if need be there, then he changes his teaching strategies as well, okay, then he changes his teaching strategies so that it becomes very cordial for his classroom to understand what he wishes to teach. So there are 3 basic phases of teaching, okay. I have taught you, this is first of all, a teacher has to plan what is going to teach. Secondly, he is going to implement or execute those plans. This stage is also known as interactive phase. The first one was pre-active phase, then the second one was interactive phase, last post-active phase. This is evaluation, okay. Now you have completely understood the phases of teaching. Now I shall tell you about different types of teaching methods which are contemporary or being used in almost all the organization in one or a different way, and these can be categorized into 4 broad types based on 2 hierarchies. These are teacher and learner. Although there have been given 4, but specifically in our syllabus 2 have been asked us to go through. But still we have to go through from these as well, because these are not difficult, but these tell a lot of things. Number of things are there to learn from these 2 as well, okay. So first are teacher-centered method, and the second one is learner-centered method, then content-focused method, okay. We shall stress more upon these 2 only, but you have to understand these as well, because we have written in these slides and we have included these in today's notes as well. The only reason is we have made the analysis of the previous papers and questions have also been asked from these 2 methods, okay. Even the syllabus specifically tells about these 2 methods only. So the third one is content focused method, and the last one is interactive or participative methods of teaching. So these are the 4 different types of methods, okay. So again, as usual, I have left this slide completely blank. Only 2 images have been drawn here. So this stands for the teacher centric method, and this is learner centric method. I shall give you 4 examples by going through which you can easily understand what I wish to teach you and what is the crux or conclusion of this whole lecture, okay. So the first was a teaching centered method. What does these method tell? Teacher is everything. Teacher is everything. What a teacher teaches, students have to obey. This is teacher centered method only, okay. You would have observed in your schools, okay, up to the level or class from nursery or pre-nursery to 10th standard, okay, whatever teacher teaches in the classroom, students have to obey. They cannot make any kind of alteration in the subject matter or in the content, okay. So this is completely a teacher centric method. So in this snap or in this picture, a teacher is teaching in the classroom and the students are sitting attentively, they are listening to his teacher, okay. So they are trying to understand what the teacher wishes to teach them, okay, and nothing else. They are not making any kind of a contribution in the content or the subject matter being taught to them. Okay, so this is the teacher centered method. The teacher is the ultimate authority, or he is said to be authoritarian in this. Okay, so this is teacher centered method. The second one is learner centered method, in which what a teacher does not play the role only of a teacher. He has to play a role of both teacher and learner as well at the same time. Okay, in this, the discussion is allowed. In this method, discussion is allowed, and all the learners have equal participations as well. They can ask a question to teacher. They can ask why this specific subject or why this specific topic is being taught to them. Why? Okay, they ask the question. And if a teacher gives any topic for discussion in the classroom, the students actively participate in that discussion. Okay, so this is about learners centered method. Okay, and discussion is allowed. This is the crux of this specific method. Okay, so these were the two things you have to understand. First was teacher centered. You can take the example of the students of pre-nursery or nursery to 10th or matriculation standard in your mind, because they do not contribute anything. Even they are hesitated enough in the classroom that they do not ask any kind of questions. Questioning is done in this phase. In this phase, questioning is done. Okay, and now we have to understand the third one. This is content focused. Content focused. Okay, this has a very much similarity with the first one. This was teacher centric, but the only difference is the teacher stresses upon a specific content, and what a teacher teaches, teacher has to make his idea or make a specific content to be taught to the student. He cannot use his own way. He can not use his own styles, his own examples. He has to teach what the content allows him to teach. Okay, for example, if in the classroom I have to teach to my students the concept of gravity, I have to be very strict about the subject matter of or the content of gravity. I cannot make any kind of a change in this content. I cannot criticize this. Okay, I cannot alter this. I have to teach what is there in the concept of gravity. Okay, so this is called content focused method. Although the students can have their queries, their questions, they can ask to the teacher, but a teacher has to stick to the content being taught to the students. Okay, I'm again going to give you one or two examples. In the upcoming days, we have to start mathematics or reasoning. These are very clear cut chapters, very clear cut chapter. Although in the while teaching you research, while teaching you the teaching aptitude or some other like communication or higher education or polity, we can give you many examples. Okay, many examples. We can mold all the contents in our way so that it becomes easy for you to understand. But when the content focused study comes, the teacher has to be very strict about the content or subject matter. He cannot make any kind of alteration in the content. Okay, when the math or mathematics or the reasoning starts, I have to teach you about different chapters like number series. After that, syllogism. After that, there shall be ratio and proportions. And after that, there will be the problem on ages as well. And number of things are yet to come. And when these comes, in the very first day, I have to teach you the subject matter or the concept or the formulas for all these chapters. In the very first day, we shall do these things, and I cannot alter the concepts. Okay, if the formula for finding the speed is distance divided by time, I cannot make any alteration to that. So this can be the best example for a content based study or content based focused method of teaching. The last one interactive and participative method. This happens with the students of a higher level of education, okay, like the students of a master of philosophy, or the students of a PhD, or the students of a postdoc, because in these situations the teacher does not remains teacher only, he also becomes a pre-active, the student become the pre-active learner, but the teacher has the role of checking only, okay, checking the content what the student has presented to himself. And there are number of scholars, like in my university there are more than 60 research scholars in my department, okay. So here is first scholar, here is second, here is third, here is fourth, here is fifth, here is sixth, okay, all these. And we always make discussion with each other, and this kind of method of learning or teaching is known as interactive or participative method, okay. Why? Each and everyone is encouraged to produce their ideas. Whatever the research I am going to do, I have to face number of problems in this field, okay, and I can share these problems with my fellow research scholars, and I can get a better idea from them as well, okay. So this kind of learning, this kind of study is known as interactive and participative method of learning and teaching. So that's why in this way, by giving some examples, I have taught you these clear, in a very clear cut manner. Now we move further, and it's not that I have not written anything else except the example I'm giving you right now. I have written a lot of things. So we shall study about these right now. These are, first of all, these are instructor or teacher centered method, okay. If you have listened to all these examples carefully, in which I have posed in this slide, which I taught in a very clear cut manner, I think I took more than 10 or 15 minutes I have taken just to give you example of each and every one, so that when the subject matter comes, it becomes easy for you to understand this, okay. So I hope that you would have understood this in a very clear cut manner, because this is this is my method of teaching. So first methods are teacher centered method. Here the teacher play a role of master of the subject matter. He is the expert or an authority. The students have to listen him. Learners are always passive or copious, okay. They copy their teacher, whatever he teach, whatever he or she is teaching them. That happens with the students of nursery to matriculation class. Then they are a copious recipient of knowledge from the teacher. What teacher teaches you, everything is all right for them. They are not there to make any kind of a criticism or any kind of questioning, even questioning. Then example of such method are expository or lecture method, okay. Like in this image, the teacher was delivering lecture to his or her students, okay. So lecture method is there, which require little or no involvement of a learner, okay. It does not require any kind of involvement, because you can see again, all the students are sitting and listening attentively. They are not performing anything, only the teacher is performing. And this happens in colleges as well. In colleges, a number of institutions are using these method. This is not specific to school education only, okay. Then this is also this method is also known as close ended method. Why? Because there is lack of involvement of learners. So this method is also known as close ended method. Then there are learners centered method, okay, which take into consideration the teacher and learner both. And in this, the teacher is not a teacher only, he is also the learner, okay. So in these methods, in this method, teacher or instructor is both a teacher or a learner at the same time. This definition has been given by Lawrence Stenhouse, and he has said that the teacher plays dual role as a learner as well as, so that in his classroom extends rather than constrict his intellectual horizons. That means his intellect is not limited to what he has learned previously. he learn continuously right now even. Okay, he is learning right now also. Right now means in the classroom as well. I am teaching to you right now. I am learning number of things, how to speak, how to interact with you, how to give you examples. Number of things I learn on daily basis. So in this situation, the teacher becomes a resource rather than an authority. In the teacher centered, the teacher was authority only. Okay, but in learner centered method, he becomes a resource of information, because students ask number of questions to the teacher. The teacher also learn new things every day, which she didn't know in the process of teaching. Its example can be many, like discussion method. I told you, okay, when I showed you this picture, this is the perfect example of learner centered methods. Okay, so in this, the discussion is encouraged, then discovery or inquiry based approach, or the last one is Hill's model of learning through discussion. Okay, here only some names have been written, like discussion method, or previously we have studied about lecture method when we went through the teacher centered method. These are coming in detail as well. Okay, you don't have to be worried about that, because this, as I have already explained you, that this topic is not going to be small. Even maybe we have to take 2 lectures tomorrow. Okay, because, and I do not want to burdenize you for this, but this topic is very important and this is very lengthy as well. Okay, so one question is highly expected. Highly means 100% that can be asked from this particular topic. So we have gone through from the teacher centered and learner centered method. Now we shall move to content focused method. Okay, here the supremacy is given to the content of the study. Okay, in this category of method, both teacher and learners have to fit into the content that is taught. This means information and skills to be taught regarded as sacrosanct or very important. Okay, there should be very much clarity and careful analysis of the content, because this is the content, or simply this is the content and topic based study. If the topic is very clear cut, we cannot make much of the contribution from our side. Okay, you cannot alter, you cannot become critical of anything to do with the content. Okay, the foremost example of this kind of system is programmed learning approach. We shall study in detail once we study all the methods in a singular form. Okay, then the last one is interactive participative method. I have taught you this happens for with the students of PhD or postdoctorate or master of philosophy, where they get knowledge and information from their fellow research scholars as well. Okay, so this is fourth category. This borrows a bit from 3 other methods without necessarily laying emphasis on either learner, content, or teacher. No one is focused, but only the subject matter or the situation is important. These methods are driven by situational analysis of what is most appropriate thing for us to learn. Okay, when there are 3 research scholars, they can discuss that what is right to learn and what is to be left. Okay, should we study this specific content or should we leave this content? These kind of systems can be done by the discussion of intellectual person only. These are the students of higher level education. So now in this table, some differentiation has been made for both the teacher and learner centric approach of a study. So in this side there will be teacher centric, and in this side there will be learner centered method, and we shall make the differentiation between these. So in teacher centered, what happens? Focus is on instructor or teacher, but in learner, focus is on both student and instructor. Then in the second, this is focus is on a language. That means the instructions by the teacher. Instructions. What instructor know about the language? Here language can be used, here the instruction can be used in at the place of language. Okay, then but here focus is on language use. Use means the students ask the question, the student discuss with their teacher where we have to use your instructions. Okay, how we can apply these. Okay, so this happens here in this second phase. Then in this instructor talks, student listen. This happens in teacher centric model. Then here students interact with instructor and one another as well. Okay, in teacher centric method, students work alone. They do not need any kind of help from anyone. Okay, in the smaller classes, what has been taught to a specific student, he has to learn in this way completely. Everybody has to learn as per the instruction of their teacher only. Okay, so there is none kind of room for any kind of discussion. Then, but in learner center, the students work in pairs, they work in groups, they work alone depending upon purpose of their activity. Okay, so these are some differentiation, some have been written here as well. So in this, instruct monitors and corrects every student. The teacher can be strict in this case, and he can censure to his student, his or her students, if they are not doing up to mark. Okay, and in this case, student talk without consent, without constant instructor monitoring. Okay, the teacher need not to monitor every time to the students, he have to make the students free. Okay, so he can only provide feedback or correction when the question arises. This happens in learner centric method or approach. The next one is instructor answer students questions. Okay, sometime in the classroom question can be asked by the students, although these can be any method of teaching, question every time arises. Okay, so if a student is not able to understand at the time teacher is teaching, he can ask only after the class is over. Usually this happens in the teacher centric model. Okay, but in this case, students answer each other's questions. They can ask the question not only to teacher but to their peers as well, to their friends as well, using instructor as an information resource. They use their teacher as an information resource. That means if a friend is not able to answer, then they ask to the teacher, and then teacher becomes, or he plays as a role of information resource, and he qualifies the queries of their students. Then instructor chooses topic. In this, teacher choose the topic always, but in this, the students have also some choices of topic. They can tell their students, I wish to learn this, you have to teach me. Okay, then in this, instructor evaluates students learning. Okay, the teacher evaluates their test score, their attendance, and many more things. But in this, students evaluate their own learning as well. Instructor also does that. Okay, so this happens in the case of learner centric models, that the students evaluate themselves. The students of undergraduation or post graduation are very aware of competition nowadays. Okay, so they make their own evaluation as well, and the teacher also make their evaluation. Then classroom is quiet in teacher centric method, but in the learner centric method, classroom is often noisy and busy. So this was in this complete system or incomplete lecture. Although there are number of slides left, these contain the detail of all the methods, like lecture method, then there is discussion method or programmed instruction method, which we have taken as an example for understanding all these kind of different methods of teaching. Okay, and these shall be continued tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow we have to take 2 classes or 2 lectures, because we have to finish this as soon as possible. And luckily we have got 1 extra day for these, because we have already covered the topics of Swayam, then Swayam Prabha, and the last was MOOC, and their video lectures are already available. Okay, so that's why we can use that day for this topic as well. So tomorrow there will be 2 lectures for teaching you complete details which are left for the different method or the types of teaching. So I just stop sharing my screen, and I believe that you have understood this complete in a very complete and directed manner as I have taught to you. And I expect your regularity. There have been 7 or 8 days by now, and we have provided you each and every detail. First of all, the class has been taken, and after that the data has been delivered to you, and you have to be very regular, otherwise it shall burdenize you too much, because from the 1st of July paper second is going to be started, and once it gets started we have to take, we sometime we shall have to take more than 3 or 4 lectures as well. So that's why you have to be regular. First of all, you have to listen the live lecture, and after that you have to listen a recorded lecture for at least one time for the deep level of understanding and concept clarity. Okay, I am telling you again and again, do not miss any test on daily basis, and do not miss any kind of explanation video. The reason is that sometime I explain what I have explained in the explanation videos, maybe sometime it can be the possibility, because at that time I am in a very great form of explaining. So that's why maybe I use some terms, some words which can be beneficial as well. Okay, so that's why being student of regular batch, you cannot skip any kind of explanation video on daily basis. Okay, then you have to even if you have attended this lecture in the coming days, we are planning for the attendance as well. So that's why even if you have attended the live lectures, still I urge you, I request you to go through recorded as well, because it can give you a lot of knowledge. So thank you so much for listening with in this video, and we shall continue for 2 lectures tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much. This is Gurpal Singh from Gurser Education.